Hi, lovely Goa flowers. Namaste. How are you? How are we dealing with this pandemic? It is completely, totally insane, right? I think everyone is panicking. I kind of felt very overwhelmed today, and I've just decided I'm just going to take a little break and reassess and treat myself a little bit, comfort myself a little bit, because this is just really overwhelming, right? And also being on social media has also felt very overwhelming because of all of the advice, and I just feel like everyone just woke up and everyone wants to share yoga and meditation and wellness advice it just seems really, really panicky, and I don't want to fall into that. So what I'm doing instead is I'm just eating my way through this, comforting my way through this with, you want me to tell you? Oh, before I tell you, I'm just going to let you know what this video is about, but you will probably see that from the title. This is just going to be like a chatty video. I was thinking, what is going to make me feel good right in this moment? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to chat to my Goa flowers, because I'm all by myself in this house. And I'm not feeling lonely, but it will make me feel better to chat with you. And being that I'm not going to be running around to every store and get stuff, I'm just going to chill, and I'm going to eat. I'll tell you what this is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a little dal. It's like a dal inspired dish that I make all the time, especially in the winter. It's very comforting, it's nourishing, it tastes really good. So I'll share that recipe with you, of course. It will be in the description box below. And then we're just going to chat, yeah. And so when I went to the grocery store, there's one Sainsbury I go to who has Twizzlers, and Twizzlers is my favorite. You know, they ask you if, you know, what would your last meal be if you were to die today? I would say Twizzlers. Because I'm going to die anyway, and you know, Twizzlers isn't that healthy, but it doesn't really matter. But anytime I get nervous or like anxious or just want a little something, I go for the Twizzlers. Oh, I love it so much, and it's the one thing that I miss from America, but this one Sainsbury has it. So I got it and I ate it. It was like nervous eating, but I don't feel guilty whatsoever. And then we usually drink the Yorkshire Gold tea, but they didn't have that. And then I saw this one with biscuit. It's called Taste Like Tea and Biscuits. And I thought, oh, that sounds so good. That sounds comforting. So I'm going to drink that. And they didn't have the Oatly barista milk that I wanted, but I had gotten this one. It's called Mighty Tea, which is a new kind. It's with pea and oat. It's not as good as the Oatly, but we make do with what we have. Oh my God, this tea is really good. It really feels very biscuity. Oh yeah. Already I feel my shoulders have dropped. Have you ever tried this tea? This tea is really good. It kind of feels like a dessert in a way. Cheers! You know, because of my back, for those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with a herniated disc. So I've become so used to standing now. And standing is a very comfortable position for me now. And I have always been the person that would want to always sit. Any opportunity I would get, I would just sit down. But being that sitting was so uncomfortable for such a long time, I had to stand so much more, stand and eat, even read, write, or lie down. But now after a few months of standing, I have finally found my Tadasana. Ta-da! Ta-da! And isn't it interesting? This is what I always think about, you know, the deeper meaning of yoga is that when we're forced to having to be in a certain position for a certain amount of time or for a longer period of time, it really brings up, you know, a lot of discomfort, but it forces our mind to really pay attention. And I feel that, you know, that is what will happen from this pandemic. You know, it probably already is, but I just hope that it will be lasting change, that it won't just be for now, that everyone comes together, everyone is willing to share and want to share, but I hope that that is something, excuse me, that, you know, will continue on, because it's so easy for this, you know, in every crisis, everyone is becoming kind and caring and sharing and all of that, but it really matters that we do it all the time, that it's something that we embody and not just because there's a crisis. So honestly, it's a little bit annoying to me in a way, if I were to be completely honest, but I will always be honest. And that's why when everything becomes so intense, then what I tend to do is I tend to just withdraw. I just withdraw from that, and then I just become silent and quiet. I stay away until the storm has quieted down. Because for me, this is what I do on a regular basis. This is who I am, is to share and to try to be kind, you know, every day. And think about our fellow human beings, not just in the times of crisis. So, yeah. You know that meme that says, a tea is like a good hug. Yeah, this is such a good hug. Oh. All right, my lovelies, my tummy feels full, I feel nourished. So let's now talk about this dal-inspired dish that I always make. So what you need is the red lentils. In terms of spices, you need curry, cumin, coriander, you need cumin seeds, turmeric. In terms of vegetables, I use carrot, I use potatoes, I use spinach and coriander, of course, that is my favorite. I also put in some chillies. You don't have to put chillies in, but I put them in. I like it a little spicy. My husband loves it very spicy. I can't take it as spicy as him, so we compromise. And then I have this vegetable bouillon. It's like stock cubes. This is called kallø. I like this one. Then I have some coconut milk and some peeled plum tomatoes. The one thing you want to make sure of is that you gather all of these things and you chop up everything before you start cooking. This is one thing that I learned from Indian cooking, and my father-in-law, he taught me a lot about Indian cooking, actually, many years ago, when we used to live in New York. And him and my mother-in-law, when she was alive, they would come to New York for like 1 to 2 months at a time, and they would do a lot of cooking. So that was really nice. So I learned quite a lot from both of them. So that's one thing that you really want to make sure of. It takes a little bit of preparation, but it's kind of like a meditation too, I feel, you know, learning to love to chop vegetables. And it's important also, I feel, how you chop the vegetables. You know, you can't be sloppy, because if you're sloppy with your chopping, it just doesn't taste as good. It really doesn't. So I'm not going to bore you with you know, hanging around with all of this chopping. And when you chop vegetables, just, you know, pay attention to how you're standing. Just take a deep inhale and a full exhale, you know, every now and then, because it's interesting how even when we chop vegetables, how we tend to hold our breath, and we make it just an activity of like getting to the end and getting everything done, instead of, you know, trying to enjoy the moment of chopping and preparing the food. And, you know, this is a way of putting prana, putting life force into your food. And when you put your own life force into the food will taste better, and the people who will eat it, they'll feel that joy and that love that has gone into the preparation of the food. And that's very, 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 very important. It makes a huge difference. There's no fancy camera angles in this video. I'm doing this so that it's super easy for me to edit and get it out there. So here we go. We're going to put some oil in the pan. You know, traditionally they use ghee. I don't have ghee, so I'll take this. And then what we do first thing is we put all of the spices in first, because that brings the aroma out of the spices. I'm putting cumin seeds in first, and then what I do is I put it in my hand like this. I take my thumb and I rub them a little bit. I learned this from my father-in-law, because that brings the aroma out like that, and then let that get a little bit brown. And then I will put 2 teaspoons of curry, 2 teaspoons of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of coriander. These are generous teaspoons. And 1 teaspoon, a little bit less, of cumin. And once I put that in, then I will stir it around a little bit, so you can see it here. And then I put the onions and the chili in. You can see, and I stir that around with the spices. Potatoes and carrots are always great to have in the house, and also have these canned tomatoes and you know, coconut milk. Have your spices. Lentils are great to have in the house, and these are very inexpensive ingredients. The spices last for a long time, and yeah, we shouldn't be going hungry if we have this in the house. The schools are still open here in London. So my son is still in school, and my husband is still at work, but I'm sure that by the weekend they probably are going to decide to close the schools. And my husband said that he was going to work from home as of Friday. He's trying to set himself up so he can work from home, but it's not so easy for him to do. So it gives me a few extra days on my own before they're all in the house. So I'm going to show you how this looks like a little bit more up close and personal. All right, so here's the beauty. Here's the beauty. So I would just let it stay for a little bit longer, you know, just let it slow cook until it all comes together. All right, I'm just going to taste it a little bit. Yeah, it's really good. I would add a little bit of salt to it, and you just add salt if you want to. But those bouillon cubes do have quite a lot of salt in them. But I'll add a little bit salt. This salt comes from a Goa flower named Pooja. Hi Pooja! I love the salt. She came with this as well. Pooja supplies me with salt. You guys supply me with so many different things. Lots of gratitude and love and support. But what I will eat this with, or we will eat this with, is you can have rice with it, or if you would also like to have maybe some chapatis, some naan bread, you could have that as well. Or what I also like to have with it is fries, or French fries. Here they call it chips. That's also really nice with it. So I think that's about it. Yeah, I hope you will make it and you will enjoy it. We are, of course, moving towards spring, but it's still a little bit cool outside, and I think we can get away with still eating a little bit of dal. I hope you've enjoyed this little chatty session with me. It made me feel much better. I feel grounded and calm now. It always feels good to make yourself a good meal, and let's talk in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this. A few of you have been sharing with me and letting me know that you really liked when I made cooking videos a few years ago. Everything is a few years ago now. I love you guys. Be safe, take good care of yourself, nourish yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's see what that will be about. Mwah.